honor, and a leader who is providing visionary leadership in this country, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. Let's give him a nice, wonderful hand clap. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana. You are doing a wonderful work. You are a great role model in this country, and we as young people, we are proud to be associated with you. Thank you. Asante sana. Thank you.
Yeah, geza kiasi DJ. Thank you very much. That's one of my favorite songs. We can see it. I actually requested it. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Engineer Peter Mushiri, the Chair of our Alumni, Bwana Kihonge, and of course the entire executive for the Alumni, the student leadership led by my younger brother Moses Mutuko, the fraternity of Dedan Kimathi University of Technology, and especially the owners of the event, who are the alumni of Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. Good evening. Dekut oye. Dedan Kimathi oye. Asante sana. I have a request to make before I continue. That if you have something called an honorary alumni, I am requesting that I be put in that list. And I promise to be contributing like the normal alumni, so that I get associated with this very great institution. I came with many friends, but I'll just recognize two of them to represent all the others. Harin and your brother, please stand up and come here. So Harin called me and told me, now it's your birthday, I need to bring you a gift. And I told him I'm coming to this function. He actually told me because he had seen online. He told me, I'm already here. So I want him to say hi. He's a young man, and say what they do, and then I'll take a very little time to give my message.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Harin Majevdia. Me and Harsh are twin brothers, identical twins, and we are local manufacturers of pharmaceuticals. Tunatengeneza dawa hapa Kenya, na raundi tumesema bye Kenya. Bye Kenya. Ndindi Nyoro hoye. Ndindi Nyoro hoye.
Thank you very much. Please clap for them, because I needed them to say that part of manufacturing, because it's very close to my heart. I want to appreciate all my brothers and sisters who are on stage before us and the VC, and of course starting from Kihonge and all the others, Gitau, Dixon. I listened to your message, and I have to say that you actually took time. I get invited to many places to talk, and out of that experience, you can tell a person who was told, kuja kuna function, anakitebea, haraka haraka, but you can tell a person who took time to give value to the people he'll be addressing. So I want to commend you for that, because I listened, I also learned. And I hope we all took note of the issues of tax and also the issues of leadership, which you took too much time, my brother, to research. And I hope you all benefited from it. Now, if I were not a politician, I would definitely be an entrepreneur on a much higher scale than I am today. Because if there are some things I do and I feel like I'm in holiday, it is about tech, about money. That is when I'm not talking about economics and politics. And when I was seated here and listening to all the presentations, I realized there is so much I didn't know about Dedan Kimathi University. And please, VC, at your appropriate time, invite me to the institution to come. Hata kuona peke yake. I went to KU for my for my undergrad, and I want to tell you here, standing proudly, because you are a Kenyan institution, as an alumni of KU, which is much older, much more solid in terms of years it has taken, I can guarantee you, because siwachochi munajua, the Alumni Association of DECUT, we can only learn from you as KU alumni. Alafu kuna kitu nimeona hapa. Nashangaa, kwani hii culture mnasema ya DECUT, kwani mtu akiingia, do you vet the personalities of the people? Because there is some air of excitement and energy in this room, which is very rare to find in people who were in campus some few years back. There is some energy, some stable, solid confidence. Kuna kitu tu naona hapa, sijui nitaidescribe aje, lakini I have come to appreciate that these young universities are definitely doing better than those who came before. And I can see that culture. Our other universities are also an alumni of UN. We need some renewal. The renewal I'm seeing here, I think it needs to percolate into those older universities. Now, what I'm telling you is from the heart, and I attend many functions. I have to say that this is a very different kind of an event. The energy, the psyche, the humility that is very solid, but also very deep. I was listening to Moses, this guy, when we were speaking. He's a student. I was a student leader, and I have to say that this guy, when he was speaking, if you have a company, you'd actually immediately hire him. Because you see some guy who knows what he's saying, but he's not rubbing it on your face that he actually knows what he's saying. That kind of confidence in knowledge and depth, I can tell you, is not very common, but I find it very common in this hall. The other thing that has made me very excited is that when I go out of the Kenya, I mean, I think ni sisi watu tumetoka mashinani saa zingine tuko na hiyo tabia, brought up in rural areas. When I'm even going for a holiday somewhere outside the country, when people are talking about to go see wanyama and the rest, I also do something called economic tourism. I don't know whether it exists in the line of tourism. That when I go to a country, I want to look at what's their GDP per capita, what is the qualitative and quantitative economic parameters. I interact with the taxi man to find out, are they happy, their happiness index. And one of the places that I like most in the US, there are many places in the US, but there are some things that are very, I feel so good going there and also speaking about it. Wall Street and Silicon Valley. Now, the technology companies we know in the US, Nvidia, talk about Tesla, talk about Broadcom. Those two especially are doing what you are doing in terms of semiconductors. When you talk about PayPal, you talk about, if you take the Forbes list and actually check the top 10, you'll find something very peculiar there. Is either a tech billionaire or, like just two, it is fashion and luxury. Because luxury and fashions, they attract very high margins and therefore catapult you to be a billionaire very fast. But in that list from number 1, you find that from Elon Musk, first of all, founding PayPal, then with Akina Peter Thiel and Levchin and the rest. Then you come to the other companies, you find the Google guys are there. I can call them brothers. They are not biological brothers. You find Larry Page is somewhere there. Then you find, of course, Microsoft. All these guys, when you talk about tech in the US and billionaires in the US, to a large extent, what are we describing? We are describing an interconnection of actually 3 things. One was a policy in the US some few decades back, which was a policy around STEM. What the US did, they realized they needed to grow the economy, but not necessarily using the brain and the IQ of the US citizens. And because every citizen of the world, they feel it's a privilege to go to the US because of how they have branded their country, so they took advantage of that, came up with a policy to promote STEM. I don't need to tell anyone from Dekut what STEM is. I mean, that is your basic unit. That is your SI units. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, they came up with that. What did they do? That all the top brains in the world, they were being given direct even citizenship, some even scholarships, to go and study STEM in the US universities. That's one in terms of policy. There is one university which I have to say, forget about Harvard and MIT. I can tell you, Dedan Kimathi University of Technology is actually a twin of Stanford University. So out of that, what did Stanford University do? And I was checking here, I don't know whether it is by default or design. Dedan Kimathi University has set aside 200 acres as a science and innovation and tech, whatever you may call it. That is a camp, or they have donated land for that respect. And in terms of actually private tech, private entrepreneurs. Now, I was wondering whether you actually knew, and whether it is by default or design, that Stanford University also actually donated 209 acres for the same purpose. So I was wondering whether the University Council checked even the acreage of Stanford. And if it's by default, then it shows that great men think alike. Now, what did they do, Stanford? They donated land, they donated an ecosystem, that if you had an idea, you actually were given a platform like where I am on a platform to actually launch your idea. And many billionaires started off from there. If you read the stories, even people who are not in Stanford, like even the founder of Apple, even the guys who are not initially in Stanford or dropped out, you'll find there is an interconnection at the back through the park that was donated by Stanford University. The other thing, critical thing, STEM, universities, and in fact, purposely Stanford University. I mean Dedan Kimathi University. The other intersection is finance. You can have a very good idea. You can be a geek. You can be an insane coder. You can be a top-notch tech. But for you to transform your brain into money, you actually also need money. Where I come from, we say, money gets money. Those who come from there, you can paraphrase. It's direct translation. Money gets money. Pesa inatafutwa na pesa. So, that's where Wall Street comes in. And that is what the VC, I know you are doing, we have been chatting, and I have seen that you are doing, but accelerate more. Accelerate now, you have a park. You have the best engineers and techs in Kenya, techies. Now, when you go to the US, there are so many private equity funds and companies that participate in funding, from pre-series to all the series. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. From Dekut, I think that's also not very complex. Meaning when you have an idea, you first get seed money. And in terms of Kenya, seed can come from savings, from your family, from borrowing. Then you can actually also get seed money from companies that offer that, and then you offer stakes. It can come as debt and equity. And then from there, you start what is called series funding. Series funding is when then some other guys now start recognizing, oh, there is that lady who is making this product that was being described by Prof. And because we exist in an economic market where it is selfish and where motivation to make money makes everyone to do good, then a person with the money sees the idea, and because they want more money, they look for you to inject some money for you to make money, but they also make money. That is the basis of something called private equity funds and venture capital. And if you check at all those guys, even those who've been in tech, if I get carried away, forgive me. I love these things a lot. If you look at the companies I was talking about, check Nvidia. Nvidia is now the largest company in the world in terms of market capitalization. The worth, I think it's 4 to 5 trillion US now. Now, you find after the idea, the current CEO does not own 100% of Nvidia, neither the founders. You realize they just own a small percent because they expanded the base of funding they were seeding equity shares, so you get money to make more money. What do I mean? You have a small company here. Let me even use a tech company. Let me use a fintech. You have a fintech company, so you are appealing to students from Dekut, and it's working, by the way. By that time, they can interact with the product, and they are using it. Or let me use a social networking platform. It will make more sense. So you make a platform that connects all Dekut students. But then you realize you need much more money, because you need money for Amazon Web Services to host. You need more money for more techies and the rest. But you have no money. So you are caught up between going to the bank, which will tell you bring title of the bank, which you don't have, or getting a person who will come give you some 2 million shillings. You give them 10% of the company. Now, when you receive those 2 million shillings and you give 10% of the company, let me repeat, when you give 10% of the company for 2 million shillings, automatically you have valued your company at 20 million shillings. Now, when you now scale using the 2 million, the company grows a little bit, but then you realize, now you are appealing to students from Karatina University. They are now in that platform, from UN, from KU. It's expanding. Now you need to scale to the entire Kenya. But you need money. You need another 10 million shillings. Now, you then raise more money using 10 million shillings. A guy comes, offers you 10 million. Now the company is more grown. You actually have people advertising in it. Now you tell them, for 5%, I'm selling it for 10 million. Now this 5% you are selling for 10 million automatically values your company for 200 million. When you hear these companies in the US, people becoming billionaires, it is money, it's not money they have touched. They counted and deposited in Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, or in Goldman Sachs. No, this is out of that valuation. When you raise now to 200 million, that's the valuation. You are already in maybe Series A, Series B, Series C. You continue like that. You realize you are already at $1 billion shillings. Now, in the US, when you already escalate your company, the valuation is past $1 billion US, you're already a unicorn. A unicorn is in a startup with a valuation of more than $1 billion US. In Kenya shillings, we can say 1 billion shillings. We can use our local currency. Then from there, you actually go to the Nairobi Securities Exchange and meet the CEO and tell him you want to list your company. Then when you list your company, let's say you list and offload 25% of your stake. And that 25%, you offloaded for 500 million shillings. And remember, all this money from the one I talked about, 2 million, you are not being paid to buy a V8. You are not being paid to buy a plot. You are taking back money to scale your company further. So you become actually a billionaire without necessarily having money. So when you list now the company, you become liquid. Your company becomes liquid. You can now afford to sell 1%. Now buy in a house in Muthaiga. You can afford to sell 0.5% and do all the things you have always wanted to do in the world. All the billionaires in the Forbes list, that is the trajectory. As we talk with you here, Microsoft founder, nyinyi mnajua Microsoft ni nani? Who owns Microsoft? Tell me. Wacheni kuniangalia namna hiyo. Mnasema ni Bill Gates. Do you know Steve Ballmer was the number 30 employee of Microsoft? So he got what is called stock options, where you are working, some of the bonuses in terms of shares, namna hiyo. Steve Ballmer is now richer than Bill Gates. As I talk to you, Bill Gates is a dollar billionaire, but he has less than 1% of Microsoft. Do you know that? Because when you are an entrepreneur from Dedan Kimathi University, always know this. What is technology? You cannot be in the technology realm and then you are closing your doors and building walls. You are no longer in tech. Because what is tech actually? Technology is what? In my simple definition, anything that makes the processes more efficient, faster, cheaper, anything around there is what we call technology. And technology, to make sense, has to be scaled. And for you to scale, you cannot continue to say, hii idea ilinisumbua sana nikikuja nayo, coming up with this here product. You guys, you don't know how many nights I took. Me, I can't allow anyone to come into my company. I can't. Nilipata stress sana. You'll have your company, 100% of it, but you'll still be selling in Chama, your products. But you get financing, you broadcast your idea, you broadcast your product, you afford even sales and marketing, you afford scaling in terms of manufacturing, and you get much more valuation and you get richer faster. Niko karibu kumaliza. And by the way, I have given you homework. Go check, because there is no other university to talk about this in Kenya more than Dedan Kimathi University. From tomorrow is Saturday. Take time to just go Forbes list. Ukiweka Forbes real-time list, it brings you billionaires in real-time world. Wa kwanza utaona ni Elon Musk. So study them, 100 of them. You realize those people are alumni of Dedan Kimathi University. Of where they come from. You realize they are thinking, how they are made and wired is about Dedan Kimathi. The reasoning I have seen is the reasoning of Peter Thiel, of Levchin, of Twitter founders, of Microsoft founders, of Steve Jobs. The reasoning. What I have seen here, somebody who is sane, but doing things that would pass as not very sane. Because you can't be above the average when you are appearing very average, even in the way you do things. Now, I know when I was invited by Kihonge, he invited me because he thought I would talk about one specific thing. And looking at your eyes, if I sit down without talking about it, I'll have wasted your night. Because beyond now, what I was talking about can pass as entrepreneurship. There is some part of investment about it when you are investing now in the ideas of others. So I'll talk about investments as I close. Alumni of Dedan, Kimathi, University of Technology. Just like many other alumni of other universities, we get a job. This table here, they are all working, and those who are not working in a company, they are doing their businesses. How many people are working here with a salary? With a salary end of the month? Na musinifiche. Anyone who is working? That's a very good thing. Now, hii swali ya pili, najua mtaficha white lakini musinifiche. How many of us here have a loan? A loan of any kind? From Sakov, from the bank, from Ashairok, from Fuliza? Where uko na loan yangu si uinue mkono? Please, anyone with a loan anywhere, in an institution, whether a sacco, you know, unajifanya ati unajua misi yangu sio ya bank, naongea hata hiyo kwenye ulichukua ndio nasema. Anyone with a loan anywhere, by a show of hand, including VC, I know he has a loan. Now, we have more hands up for people with loans than the people with jobs. Suppose we reason together for these few minutes, guys, brothers and sisters. I've been wondering, because I take time to study demographics and economy trends and the rest. Hii kitu ya Wakenya na loan ilitoka wapi? Because it's something I have been keenly observing. You graduate from Dedan Kimathi University. You get a job at Microsoft, Meta. You get a job in a manufacturing company, a food company. You get a job in a bank, especially in the IT department. You get a job in the university itself. In your that month of employment, you already have a loan. Hiyo kitu nani ulitoa wapi? Where did we get this thing from? That my sister is a teacher. Immediately she gets a TSC form like this. When she got into TSC, in the staff room, the first orientation, uko na loan. Ukiulizwa ni ya nini, but you qualify. That the biggest motivation we have in taking a loan, yeah, sina qualify. And I wonder, qualify what? All of you have brothers and sisters who are doctors, who are teachers, who are now you now, the one who raised the hand in terms of you have a loan. Hii kitu tulitoa wapi? That ukiajiriwa hivi, that month, you take a loan. Yani unaulizaka utafanya nini na loan kama iko? Kwanza hizi za check off. You know banks wanapenda hizo za check off. Because ni mshahara yako, iko na insurance, na fallback position, even your pension. So, the bank is well covered. And always remember, the bank is that friend who gives you an umbrella when the sun is up. And when they see mi naona munaelewa. The bank is that friend who gives you an umbrella when the sun is up. But wakiona dalili ya mvua, they come for the umbrella. Then, with this friendship as Kenyans we have so close to the banks is making banks not led to the growth of the economy. It is making banks led into our ignorance. Because if you all stop taking this check of loans, they'll have no money, they'll have so much money, which they don't know where to take. They'll have to now to lead you and your business idea. But they can't do that. Because I know when you get a job and you are a lecturer, the first orientation, uko na loan. It's something I want you to go and evaluate. Those who have not gotten jobs. It's not a must you do things the way they have been done. That's what I'm trying to say. Ukiuliza mtu hapa wenye walikuwa wameinua mkono, ulichukua ya nini? I bought a plot. I know my brother is in real estate. And they are doing a good job because it's out of that there is supply of the land we build our homes. But beyond that home of yours that you live, and you've taken another loan to buy a plot. Now you are buying your third plot. What is, kwani the technology you learned in Dedan Kimathi University, where was plot coming in? Ebu DJ weka hiyo. Now, you are a teacher. You already have a home or you are renting. It's not even about a home. The first loan you take in the staff room, kwanza mnaleteagwa staff room kujaza hizo forms na watu ya bank. And you buy, kwanza unaambiwa sikanisha hizi bili. Unajua nimeangalia map, kuna jengo rami hapa hivi karibuni. Which is all good for sales. Lakini can your reason for taking a loan and buying a plot only be, I was told it's good to have a plot? That you know my father told me ni vizuri ukipata kazi unakuwa na kwetu tunasema teri, unakuwa na udongo. And na hakuna mtu anakusikiza. That you know that and you know it. It's something that I am shifting to you. Go and do some analysis. Does it actually make sense? When you buy from Kihonge, the first plot that you build your home, the second one you are buying is for what? You know what he will tell you? It's an investment, and we are told land never loses. Land never loses. Try to sell the plot you bought last month for the same money you bought it. Try to sell it. The one you bought last year, try to sell it. Our brothers and sisters in real estate are buttressing. They are doing a good job in having supply of land in good quantities, and therefore standardizing the prices of land. But beyond the home you are building, how comes Elon Musk is not obsessed with having plots? Bill Gates is now only enthused about land the other day for other reasons, maybe scientific ones. Now he is one of the biggest landowners in America. But it's after he made all the money. All these guys, including the Nvidia CEO, how comes they don't have these plots? How comes? You think about it. The second loan we take, gari. You know, you guys, munaniangalia kama, nasema nini? I'm talking to you because you are there. Already there. Those guys who raised their house, niko na kazi. Half of you have already taken loans to buy cars. What is this urgency about buying a car? Now you take a loan of 2 million. You buy a car. By the time you pay that loan in 5 years, you'll be paying it at 3.5 million. So the car you're actually buying is 3.5 million. And that car is for what? You know, I was in Dekut, I'm an engineer. Unajua nikienda home Christmas, people have to see I'm a graduate. By the way, if you critically analyze why you bought that car, hata hutumiage kuenda nayo job, is to go to Shags over Christmas and Easter. Si afadhali uchukue Uber hiyo time basi watu waone uko na gari. And there's this money you invested somewhere that can make some money for you. Very lastly, fixing money in the bank comes up very easily. Fixed income assets. Fixed income assets are what? You fix money in the bank, they guarantee you 12% per annum fixing money. Because let's be factual. Other than the plot you're buying, the second thing is fixing money in the bank or putting it there. Or building a flat in the plot you already have, which is maybe an inheritance from your father. Those are the kind of things we all do. Somehow ni kama manual tunapewa. That tukianza maisha, shika hii. Wewe umeanza kujenga vidhuramji. Unachekea nani nyumba na uko na yako? Now, the other things now, fixing money in the bank, fixing 12% per annum, buying government bonds, treasury bills. I'm sharing my opinions. They don't have to be absolute facts. Me, I'm sharing what, in my little experience, I think can make a little more sense. This hall today is made up of people who graduated. The first graduation was 2013. So this hall is all young people. Even the one who graduated first from Dekut. So me, I always reason this way. So I have 2 million shillings. I fix in the bank. 12% per annum. So mwisho ya mwaka nitapata 240,000. So I already had 2 million. And I'm talking humbly with all due respect. Now, if you already had 2 million, what difference will 240,000 do to your life? That's usually my reasoning. Now, if I already have 10 million, if you already have 10 million from whichever source, and I fix this money in the bank, so mwisho ya mwaka maybe at 12%, I get 1.2 million. A person with 10 million, what will 1.2 million shillings do to them? Will it even change your standard of life? If you already had 2 million and you have added 240,000, it's not even enough for you to change your car. It's only enough for you to change your shoes. Then, is that what we are looking for as young people? That's my reasoning. Then, from there, I say, then I will not invest in this. Because, as a young person, I don't want anyone to tell me about stability. The age everyone in this hall is in is either to make it or make it. It's not gradual, kidogo. Mi siyo sipendi. Kwanza hii story ati umeajiriwa job, so you are negotiating a higher promotion to be added 5,000. You didn't want to go to Dekut for that. You went there to conquer the world. And by the way, that is the reason I always vouch and actually do invest in the stock market. That's the reason. Because remember the reason I gave you about venture capital and private equity and the rest. It's the same branch. Even NSC is the same branch. I believe I would rather go. Mimi fresh graduate. In fact, what I'm telling you is what I did. Siwabi kitu ya kusoma. I figured out, nikipata job after EKU. By that time, Equity was employing Safaricom because they were antelopes. They were growing fast. A company in the growth stage in the business world is called an antelope. Now they were antelopes, they were employing, there were many job opportunities. So I figured out, if I get this job in Equity, or PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, or Deloitte, or KU, because I was a student leader, maybe I could have maneuvered. I figured out, okay, nitapata job ya how much? 100K. Max. Yani hiyo wewe ni tajiri ile mbaya ukiwa fresh graduate. So 100,000 I said now in a year, so I'll be earning in a year 1.2 million, but that is without eating, sleeping anywhere, and wearing anything. So it's a gross pay of 100,000, so I'm earning 1.2 million a year when I have already posted my life. So I sleep in the office, eat there, office food, and also use their water and go to their barber shop. Of course, that analogy doesn't apply. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'll make 1.2 million. So in a year, 1.2. So I'm talking here about 10 years, 12 million. And I decided I will not get a job. Because I saw if there is a surest way of me not making it, the surest, forget about not getting a job. Getting one was the surest way of not making it. Because I started how other people do, including my own sisters. I could see you get a job. Now, in your second year, in the job, you already have a young family. The stakes become higher. When the stakes become higher, now it's not the issue of you conquering the world. It's the issue of you paying school fees. And I decided easy. But now, it's not easy, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. Mi niko hapo nimegraduate. Unajua watu wa KU graduate kila mtu hukaa kahawa. So nilikuwa hapo kahawa, niko na cyber nini najaribu. Nikiendelea weekend nasikia, hey, my classmate amepata job Deloitte. How much? Sijui 80,000 take home. 80. Ukikaka, hey, nani? Chairman wetu wa KUSA amerudi KU job admin. Niko hapa najaribu cyber, internet imepotea, stima imepotea. Then I think nitajeji hii ufala yangu sasa. Hata mimi nifanye kama wengine. Lakini nikaona hii mtego nikiingia, niko hapo. All I'm trying to say, the first 1 year, real tough, desert. You are in the we are in Kalahari desert. And you know, most of our decision making, if you study psychology and even human sociability, how do we make our decisions? It's usually not based on what is best for me. It's usually based about society. It's usually about my prayer group. I'm the only one who is not driving. Do you know, by the way, those are the basics of our decision making? You know, I go to church, ACK, now, kwa youth ya hiyo church, you know, I'm the only one who is not buying a plot. And that becomes the primary decision-making organ of a whole graduate from Dekut who did technology and engineering. I'm speaking to myself also, so I'm not pointing to you, Pekeenu. So, what am I trying to say here? Mi niliona story ya kazi, nilijiuliza, wapi tushaisikia mtu ametoka hii dunia kwa sababu hakupata kazi? Then if that is not one way of eliminating my existence, then I'm not getting one. Why? Because getting one, ni kukaa tu hoyae. That's my belief. That's what I thought. Ni kukaa tu hapo. I have given people, my parents, the right to say my son works for Barclays Bank, my son works for this. You have given them that. But you are in a trap. Now, coming to investments, that's the reason I actually invest in the stock market. Because is it I put money where I'll get so much money, or I don't put? Now tell me at invest hii kitu inakupea 20%. Me, I'm not looking for 20% annum. I'm looking for more. The beauty is that those opportunities are there. And then when you are buying shares, don't look at you're buying, you know, people imagine shares are these things people trade forex. No. Shares is, we are in this hotel today. This hotel has ownership. If it's owned by 10 people, those are the shareholders, they are owners. So when you're buying shares, it is like you are replacing one of the 10. That's how shares market is. You are replacing that other shareholder because shares are not created for you. You buy ile iko na huyu na huyu na yule. Why so? Again, when you are investing, you don't look at trading. And I keep asking myself, and I am asking you, when you buy a plot in Ruaka or in Kroiro or in wherever other place, how comes you don't call your broker of the land every day to ask them, hey, bei imefika wapi? When you say, we buy a plot ya 2 million, hausubuaki watu kila siku, huko plot ziko pesa gapi? You buy and you chill. That's the same way of investing in the stock market. You do your research, you buy the right company, and because you know you bought the right company, then you don't keep on checking the price every now and then, because you know you made the right decision. So what are the kind of things I look for when I'm buying those things? Stock market, because I'm giving you the abstract as I finish, you go study by yourself. I can't tell you which year to buy. because you're already a graduate. So you must know which one to buy, but through which parameters. You started the global market. I also do that. It's not rocket science. Anyone who did these heavy courses of Dedan and Kimathi, you'll find analyzing investments like walking in the park. You'll find it like going to see giraffes in Dedan and Kimathi. It's that easy. You started the global market. Like I saw the Federal Reserve this week. They lowered the Fed rate. So to me, when I'm watching Bloomberg TV, that has an interconnection with my investments here in Kenya. Because when interest rates are coming down, most times shares prices are going up. And it's no coincidence that when the Federal Reserve in the US lowered their rate by 25 basis points, immediately the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ recorded their highest levels ever. It's not a coincidence. So you started global markets. Where is the world going? Is the world now for rates or is it for stock market? Then you come to Kenya. Kenya, you start the sectors. Now, there are many companies listed in the NSC. Some are in agricultural sector. We have Kapchorwa Tea, Williamson Tea, Kakuzi. That is at agricultural. And forgive me if I'm not talking to you. This issue I'm talking, I would rather talk to 5 people other than talk theory for all of you to clap. You get what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to motivate you. No. Motivation, I don't think I fit the bill. I would rather speak to 3 people who will do it other than talk something that's very exciting. So after that sector, look at agricultural sector. How is it faring in Kenya? Automobiles, there is only one company listed called Car in General. You go to insurance, you go to banking, you go to technology, you go to energy, Kenya Power, KenGen, Total Kenya, such, Umeme. That helps you first of all see the trend in sectors. Like for me now, my number one sector of interest is banking. Because of all the sectors in Kenya, banking is making more money than all the rest in terms of growth in profitability. Then number 2, when I look at banking, it is the only sector in Kenya that they are expanding geographically massively. And they are not limited. That Equity Bank today here is now in DRC, is now in that other place, is already going to Ethiopia. So I look at that and say, now, if they are going to Ethiopia, this Kasia yangu moja will also go to fetch for me money from Ethiopia. You look at it that way. Then, why stock sector? Then you zero in. Now, let's say you are in banking. You zero in. What are the things you look at? You look at number 1, profitability of the company. How has it been profitable? Does it rise? How is the rise in profit? Between KCB, between Equity, between DTB, between ABSA. Number 2, in banking, you look for something called price to book value. Those who are writing, I can see a few. You look at something called price to book value. Price to book value is this. If you're starting a bank in Kenya today, the core capital has been 1 billion, though it is being increased. So if there are 10 people starting a bank, we will all cough in 100 million shillings. We go start a bank. That is called core capital or shareholders' funds. Core capital or shareholders' funds. Now, this is the lopsidedness in the Kenyan market and the opportunities I see. Most of the banks are now trading below that 1 billion. Forget about the billion. I'm not talking about the billion. Shares already are subdivided. Zinatoka shilingi hata 20, kuna ya 10. HF is like 9 shillings. Equity is like 60. KCB around the same level. So these billions are for the entire company. Many banks are trading at below their core capital. A bank like Equity Bank is trading at 70% of its core capital. The cheapest bank in Kenya in terms of shares now, Diamond Trust Bank, has core capital of 99 billion, and the entire worth of the company is 33 billion. So to me, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything, I'm just talking. So I look then after that, is it profitable? Is it this? Is it this? Then I silently go and buy. You get what I mean? As I finish, so that I don't like talking abstract. And I'm saying it in all good faith. Last year, and I'm not saying it happens all the time. I'm just saying, go and analyze, do some homework. Kenya Power was trading at 1 shilling, 70 cents, 80 cents, thereabout. In fact, the few I have, I bought them at around an average of 1.7 shillings or 1.8 shillings. So let's do the math, using you here. You had 1.7 million shillings. We are talking about last year, August. It was that price. So you had 1.7 million shillings. So you could buy 1 million shares. 1 million shares. You could buy. And I need, buying shares here, ile mambo ya madharau, tuonyeshe box number ya guka yako. You walk into a stockbroker, you open a CDS account. It is open. So 1.7 million shillings would have bought you 1 million shares. We are talking about last year, guys. That share, as of yesterday, after falling because it's now ex-dividend. Those are things we'll talk about at some other time. It's now trading ex-dividend, so meaning shares become inashuka kidogo. To take care of that, then inapanda tena. Let's say an average of 12 shillings. An average of 12 shillings. So your 1.7 million shillings last year in August is how much? How much? Harin is how much? 12 million. But you took years to buy a car, eh? But you also bought a plot. Uko na plot. Sawa, basi yet I will use the session. Uniambie. This person with the shares, ask them for money. They'll come with it after 2 days. Kenya is something called T+2. When you sell your shares today, after 2 days, the money is in your bank. Take Kengen. By July, it was 5 shillings. July this year. Now, is around 8.5 thereabout. It seems very small money. But it means your 500,000 in July is now 850, and you're already waiting for dividend of 90 cents, which is 90,000, another money on top of that. So that's why I keep on talking about this every day. The stock market in Kenya is undervalued. Undervaluation mostly comes up because of information gap. You go study. What other people don't know is what benefits you. Because you see a glaring opportunity. When you see a glaring opportunity, you take note, you act, but other people are still buying plots and cars. Then later on, you still buy a car, but instead of that one your friend has, you'll buy the other one now you'll have. You know which one. You'll still buy the plot, but you not buy the plot that other interior place. You'll buy this other one near the road, that place you know. That is the beauty about investment. And it's not gambling. You are investing in a company, you are getting shares, you become a shareholder, you go to the AGM, you can ask questions, you can give inputs, and you grow it. And very lastly, I invest in it and I vote for it because many other investment instruments don't have life. When you buy a treasury board, you are told, or a treasury board, you are paid per annum, but half yearly. But the money you invested, the 1 million, after 10 years, if it's a 10-year board, you'll still get it at 1 million. It has no life. But if I buy a share in Equity Bank, people who bought when it was just Kenya, it expands to Ethiopia, it's getting life. It's like buying Dama. Dama is a calf. Umenunua ikiwa a calf. This calf bears a calf. It starts producing milk. This other calf gets another calf. The calf gets another calf. And the calf is called a herd. Investing in a company is in that manner. Because company has life. it keeps on growing. Very, very lastly, national issues in 2 minutes. The reason you see me talk about Safaricom shares and talk about the undervaluation it is going through and why the government is giving it for free, I talk about it because I know Kenya deserves more in the sale of Safaricom shares. We are being told we are selling a share at 34 shillings. Ama hamjasikia share zenu za Safaricom zinauzwa? You know, inaweza kuwa maybe nimekuja hapa kuwapea story, mshakae kwani nauza SIM cards. Shares za Safaricom, serikali iko na 35%. Sasa inataka kuuza 15%. Na hakuna shida. In fact, that's not even the argument. The argument is, we are selling this share at 34. And then I asked them why. You know, it's market price. And I asked them, guys, what are you saying? Market price what? As we talk now in the US, Netflix and Paramount are bidding for, I think, Disney or some other company there. It's Warner Brothers, I think. A listed company, mbona hawakuenda wanunue shares vile zinatoka kwa market? Why are they bidding? In the most mature market in the world, you want to buy a company, a big stake, the company is already listed, and you don't hear them talk about market price. Because they are competent. And they know market price just provides liquidity, but there is much more value beyond market price. And I gave this story the other day. 2014, after nimetoka KU, I had some few shares of a company called Rea Vipingo. It was 27.5 shillings. Then some other guys decided, we want to take over this company. And they came and said, now that the company is 27.5, we are offering 40 shillings per share. Hey, mimi na share zangu sijui 1,000 nikaona, si watulipe haraka haraka. Because I thought I'm getting a good deal, 45% of my money. Kama tumekaakaa hivyo, Chris Kirobe mwenye mnamjua na kampuni yake ya Centum wakaenda CMA sijui wapi tukasikia no. These guys had given a bid of 40, Centum have given a bid of 50. Hey, then I thought, in my mind I was wondering, si Kirobe achane na hii story bana. Atadelay hawa watu wa change mind. That was what I was wondering. But Kirobe put up a bid of 50 bob, Centum. Within a few days, another company called Vania put in a bid of 55. Mimi na tusia zangu, unajua mimi nafanya tu hesabu yangu that time. 1,000 shares, I bought at 27,500. So this is already 55. This guy should stop the show. Me, I need this money now. Haya, mimi nikifikiria tumefika mwisho. These guys who had offered 40 bob offered 70. But then they sat down with Chris Kirobe. They told him, please, Rafiki, withdraw your bid. Because hawakuanataka mzozano tena past that. Kirobe told them, no, fine. On behalf of the other shareholders, we are offering 70, but also me, as a person who is bidding Centum, because you have so much land in Vipigo, you are going to sell me 10,000 acres for 80,000 an acre. Those people who know Centum, the development you see ukipita Mtwapa huko inaitwa sijui Vipigo Ridge or something is around Vipingo. That is where that 10,000 acres came from. But that's not even the point. Then he said, after we buy this land, you also distribute some of that money to the shareholders. So they give us 70 shillings and another 15 out of the sale of the land. So my share of 27.5 shillings, which maybe if it was 1,000 shares, I had spent 27,500 shares, I pocketed 85,000. Now tell me, good guys, this hall is full of graduates. Don't we want value for Kenya? Between 27 shillings and 85 shillings, which is better? Why are we then subjecting a government asset to be sold in the first bid. My argument is, open Safaricom bid. Let those guys who are bidding in the 34 bid. Give MTN, is also a telco, an opportunity to bid at maybe another price. Give Etisalat an opportunity to bid at a higher price. Give KKR, it's an investment company from the US, an opportunity to bid. Give Blackstone, give BlackRock, and all the other investment companies. Because when we sell this share at a higher price, Kenya gets more money to build more roads. And that is my argument. And anyone who would not want to do that, there can only be one reason, that they have self-interest inside of that bid. If there is no self-interest, who have told you that there is only one company that can buy and they are fixed price? My take is, open up, sell to people, let's get the highest bid, let Kenya get the best deal out of the sale of Safaricom shares. Na hayo mengi, mimi nawatakia mema. And because you come from the Stanford of Kenya, I wish you future billionaires all the best. I wish you current employers and future employers that you'll have companies that will employ thousands and thousands of Kenyans. And out of that, because you'll be so wealthy, you'll be so rich, that you'll actually give to your endowment fund to become like the one for Stanford University. Where only one guy walks into the university, tells the vice chancellor, oh, you are building an admin block. That is no longer the problem of the university. Give me 1 year, it will be here. That is what I wish of all of you here. And my parting shot is that I am not motivating you. I'm telling you things that are practical and things that you can become. So I wish you all the best. Happy Jamhuri Day, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, future tech billionaires. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wapi shangwe na vigelegele. Honorable Ndindi Nyoro in the building. Thank you so much. Now, we have a surprise for you. We love you so much. We need your birthday. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to cut the cake for the birthday. Kabla birthday ipite, imebakisha 30 minutes birthday yake ishe. It's 11:30.